Steve on the Republican line, Phoenix, Arizona. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, my comment is I think we need to start drilling a lot more, get more oil, especially from Alaska. We're going to be burning gas in our cars for a long time to come, and to not just go drilling, because if we don't own the country, if we go bankrupt, it's not going to matter how good the environment is if we don't own it. You know what I'm saying? We have to really go in and start drilling. Alaska's up there, hands are wide open. They're waiting for us to come up there and start drilling. I say we got to worry about the environment a little bit less, and we got to worry about our spreadsheet a little bit more. And that's my comment.
Thank you.
Thanks. Well, the caller's right, is that we're going to be burning gasoline in cars for a long time to come. But I think a more effective strategy is to reduce the amount of gasoline we burn in cars, begin to shift to electricity, as President Obama wants to do. He wants to put 1 million electric vehicles on the road by 2015. In addition, a senior official from the Department of Energy just testified in the Senate last week that we wouldn't see the peak production of oil from Alaska for 20 years, and then it wouldn't lower the price by any more than 1%. So the reality is that we use a quarter of the world's oil. We have 2% of the oil resources. It will be impossible for us to drill our way out of this math problem.
Next up, Scottsdale, Arizona, on our line for Republicans. Steve, you're on the Washington Journal.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for taking my call. I had a comment and see what the man thinks. Like if we had we have just different crises. We have the Haiti crisis. We have all these other crises. We're donating money. Why not have like a fundraiser to help solve this problem? Get everybody involved in it and get some help from everybody.
You mean like a telethon, Steve?
Yeah, have a telethon for this. This is the biggest crisis that we face. Why don't we do something to get everybody involved? Like have a telethon, have everybody donate what they can. The millionaires could kick in plenty of money. The billionaires could kick in a lot.
Steve in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Well, I don't think that's going to make much of a dent in the magnitude of the problems we have. But here's the really good news. The American people are involved. They are more deeply involved now than I've seen them during my entire time in public policy that goes back over 30 years now. Remember that the debates that go on inside the Capitol building are merely a reflection of a much larger debate that's going on among the American people. And that's the debate that's going on over backyard fences and family dinner tables and over coffee at Starbucks this morning. And it's upon the outcome of that debate that the future of our country will be decided.
Perspective from Phoenix now is Stephen, Republican caller for the Congressman. Hey, Stephen.
Hi. Yeah, I wanted to bring light on the enormousness of our economy and see what the gentleman has to say regarding that. That it looks like it's a big tragedy. We're going into this big fiscal dilemma, but isn't it true that our economy is very large, and isn't it true that there's plenty of money to pay off this debt over the years? Isn't it just a matter of looking at it in the bigger picture, looking at the spreadsheet of it? It's not really a crisis. It's like me having a credit card balance of $20,000, let's say, but let's say I make $40,000 a year, right? I should be able to pay that off in a couple of years if I still pay all my debt. Isn't it really not a crisis if we just look at it, in the bigger picture?
Money of money, bigger picture, he says.
What you are saying is absolutely correct. The crisis that we are hearing about today is a manufactured crisis. We have been in debt before. At the end of the Second World War, we had borrowed extensively in order to pay for the war, and then we paid it off. And in good times, you pay off the debt, and in bad times, you invest more to take care of the problem. My subcommittee last year spent $100 billion in giving out unemployment benefits. We spent more than was in the account. We had to borrow to pay the unemployment benefits to workers. Now, you could say, well, then you shouldn't have paid them anything. You should have just let them go hungry, lose their house, and just let them be out in the cold. I think it was important some money to pay for the unemployment.
Scottsdale, Arizona. Steve, Republican line. You're on the air with Congressman Paul Broun, Republican of Georgia.
Yeah, I wanted to go back to that deficit thing, that being the greatest threat. I believe that's true, and it's amazing, like people come up with some great ideas, how to solve that, how to help solve it with different, different revenue ideas and whatnot. But it seems like every time somebody comes up with one, then the politician will say, well, that'll hardly put it down. That won't be enough. It's not going to even make a difference, but the 15 trillion or whatever. But it seems like you got to start somewhere. We should be definitely adding all up. Every dollar should count. We shouldn't just be blowing off every idea. Every dollar should count, and they don't seem to think that. They're like, oh, well, that won't put it down. We got to deal with 14 trillion. So why bother with this little idea?
Okay, Steve?
Well, Steve, I agree with you. We need to just cut spending, and even small amounts of cutting spending are just as important as big amounts of cutting spending. We just need to cut the outrageous spending that's going on up here in Washington, D.C., and I'm fighting to do so. So we're going to have a debt ceiling vote very soon. We'll see what is going to be entailed in that vote. In fact, just next week we're going to have what's being called a clean debt ceiling vote. In other words, want to raise the debt ceiling without having any cuts in spending. The President and his administration have asked for a vote. In fact, Harry Reid, until just, I think in the last day or two, was saying we need to have a debt ceiling vote without anything on the bill except for just raising the debt ceiling. Well, the House is going to do that just next week. It will fail. I'm not sure, but I don't think there will be a single Republican that will vote for that. And in fact, it'll be a bipartisan vote no, because there will be a number of Democrats that are going to vote no also. But we've got to have major cuts in the federal spending. And in fact, Speaker Boehner has been very clear. It has
the dynamic right now. I think he will certainly listen to us, and he will certainly fold into his thought process many of the concerns we have. But in the end, he is the leader of our party, and we will march behind him. All right. Scottsdale, Arizona. Steve, a Republican, you're on the air with Congresswoman Jackie Speier. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi.
Hi, Steve.
Yeah, I'd like to say that, have you ever heard the phrase that too many cooks spoil the broth?
Yes, I've heard that.
I think that it's going to be critical that both sides definitely meet in the middle. Maybe we need to hire some mathematicians and get together on this. The millionaires are going to have to give up some of that, going to have to give up some of that money, and so are the poor people. They're going to have to give up some of their welfare. It's going to have to be, met in the middle.
All right, let's take that point, met in the middle. Well, Steve, I think that's where we do have to end up, in the middle. And this is part of the dance that goes on in that effort to try and meet in the middle of the dance floor, I guess. But I will hasten to add that when you talk about welfare, welfare was changed under President Clinton's administration so that no longer is it a lifetime benefit. A maximum of 5 years is the full extent that anyone can be on welfare in this.
One more call. Scottsdale, Arizona, Republican line. Steve.
Yeah, hi. I was going to say that maybe we're just looking at this pessimistically. Doesn't 9% unemployment mean 90% employment? And maybe, because we're in an automation age with, the computers and robots, isn't it likely that we're going to start having more unemployment just for that reason, because the robots do the work now? Thanks.
Good question. I think the answer to that is services. That's why you've seen a drop in manufacturing as an employment center and construction, and why the services sector is now the leading employer in healthcare in particular. So that is happening. I don't think we're going to have it, structurally 9%. We're the world's largest economy, the most competitive and entrepreneurial economy. So I think the expectation is that you are in that 5 to 6% range, and that's why 9% is such a painful experience and an anomaly. This is not a normal